DeChristopher?
He was sent to the hole because an unidentified politician wanted to send him there, and it was like an 8 by 10 cell he shared with one other person. And they only let him out. He was there for 2 weeks, and they only let him out for 4 hours the whole time.
That's crazy.
We took action. We called and we wrote letters, and they got him out of there.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Wow, cool. So he's out of there now. And his release will be next year sometime? Is that what they're saying?
He's going to be, February. He's going to be on house arrest.
Wow.
It'll be nice to have that jerk back.
Right, yeah. Totally, yeah.
Yes, so I'm a huge Rise Against fan.
Oh, cool.
That's how I knew that you supported Tim DeChristopher, because I was on your online chat where you were answering questions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And someone asked who inspires you, and you said Tim DeChristopher.
Yeah. That was amazing.
So how long have you been following Tim's story?
I don't remember where I first read about it. Where did I first read about it? I don't remember, but I've been following it for maybe a year or so. I think when he was sentenced, when I finally saw it hit headlines, and I realized his story and what he had done, and I just thought that was incredibly brave and courageous, and such an important move, and an important tactic, in today's world. And so, I think I have a serious reverence for civil disobedience. You know what I mean? And I think that my generation has kind of forgotten how important it is and how it shaped the world we live in today.
Yeah.
And so to have a modern day activists like Tim DeChristopher practicing civil disobedience in a very creative way, it's something that's very inspiring.
Yeah, so that's inspired. So music's a great way to spread messages, and Rise Against is very good at that. So what inspires you to write political and controversial issues?
I think just the knowing that we have the ability to transfer that information in a creative way, like from a stage or via a CD or a record. It makes doing what we do more fun, because instead of just singing you a song or entertaining people on a night like tonight, hopefully we can sort of provoke some thought, or maybe get people thinking about some of the things that we care about. And to be honest, I do it because I don't know what else I would do. It's I'm just one of those people where if you give me a pen and paper and said, put down your thoughts, those are the things that I'm most passionate about, are ideas of change and awareness, and where the pressure should be applied to do that. And then certainly, informing our audience some of the things that compel us to give a shit, and trying to pass that on to, our fans, who, for some people, it's their very first show tonight, And so they're sort of being introduced to this whole subculture, and then they're also being introduced, hopefully, to ideas of change and that kind of thing. And so that's kind of it puts a different twist on what we do. So it's not just we're just pulling up on our bus and playing a show and entertaining people, and then we're moving on to the next town. It's hopefully we're leaving people behind that are thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Music definitely makes me think and inspires me. It actually inspired me to go vegan.
Oh, awesome. Good for you.
Yes. And so you've always been upfront when it comes to political issues. And have you always been that way?
Always been what?
Have you always been just believing in what you believe?
Oh, yeah, I think so. It was kind of I got into punk and hardcore at a young age, and then I got into politics because a lot of my favorite punk and hardcore bands were talking about things that my teachers weren't telling me about, my parents weren't telling me about, and it became a secondary education of sort of, you know what I mean? And so it kind of triggered my interest in playing music, because I realized, well, you could bundle music and these ideas of these political ideas into a band, and it can be something really radical and really exciting. And I think that's probably since I was 15. I got really attracted to music in that sense. I grew up listening to all kinds of music, but it wasn't until I saw music being used as a vehicle, for social change and ideas of awareness. That was when it was oh man, this is really fun and exciting. That's what made me want to do it, and that's why I still do it, I guess.
Yeah, you did the Chicago punk scene, right?
Right. Yeah. Chicago punk and hardcore scene, which was really cool. It was really underground, and we never had any very big bands that came out of it, but I was so lucky to be a part of it at that time. It was a great sort of hardcore community.
So what are some important steps that you think someone should take to help fight for a more sustainable and livable future?
I guess your very first thing is just to sort of arm yourself with knowledge and arm yourself with the information that's out there, and after that, it's whatever like feels natural to you, like whatever you feel with like your gut instinct, like you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the most important. It's like something you feel comfortable doing, and something that was like it's important to kind of analyze who you are, where you are in the world, and where you could best apply pressure, you know, to create some sort of change, you know. And then that's for everyone, that's something different. You know what I mean? Like all of us are at different points in our lives, or do different things, or have different creative talents. You know what I mean? And for our band, it was obviously what we wanted to do, but for somebody else, maybe something completely different. You know, and that's what's important. You know, like don't try to model yourself after somebody else. Like figure out where you think you can be most effective.
Yeah. And what role do you see citizen participation taking in shaping our collective future? Like, I guess.
Well, I guess, I mean, we play the biggest role, you know what I mean? Like, as citizens and as people, you know, I think it was Margaret Mead who said, like, you know, something like, the only thing that ever changed the world was a small group of thoughtful people, you know, and that's where change comes from. You know, it isn't coming from the White House or people in power. It's coming from, you know, the people demanding it, you know, until leaders have to listen, you know, until people that are making policies have to listen because we've demanded it, you know, and that's what's so important. I think it's easier for people to feel powerless in that sense, you know, because you feel like you're so far removed from, you know, the sort of those giant agents of change, but, you know, each one of us are an agent of change.
That's inspiring. So if you could say anything to Tim or ask him any question, what would it be?
I guess I would just want to say that, you know, I have so much respect for what he's done. I hope people are inspired by what he's done. I think, you know, he said it better than I could in a lot of ways, that you know, they can't imprison his ideals, and those ideals live in so many of us, you know. And when we have nothing to lose and we have less and less to lose, you know, then these types of actions will be far more prevalent, you know. And I think that, you know, the world needs more Tim DeChristopher's in the future, for sure.
Yeah, so a peaceful uprising model is always to just meet intimidation with joy and resolve.
Yeah, that's cool. It's important. And I think that his case is sort of indicative of how, you know, when criminal trials get political, how they can be skewed. You know what I mean? And like what he has done, you know, even in the judge's own admission, wasn't that big of a deal in the end. But because they haven't broken his spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that they feel like, okay, we need to imprison him to deter other people, but it's like it's only you know, inspiring people, and it will continue to inspire people. And I think the future will see more Tim DeChristopher's as you know, the people in power give us less and less access to that kind of power.
Yeah. So I know you have 2 daughters. Are you hopeful for their future?
I am. I think that, you know, I can't help but be hopeful, I guess. You know, I mean, there's a lot to be pessimistic about, you know, in the world, but, you know, I'm in a fortunate position where I get to walk onto a stage like tonight here in Salt Lake City, and I see people who care. You know what I mean? So, like, even though I'll wake up here in the morning, I'll read the paper, and all this terrible stuff is happening around the world, you know what I mean, in our own country, at the end of my day, I see people who want to see change, you know what I mean? And it's sort of this constantly inspiring thing where it's like I get to see the next generation, and I've met a lot of people and a lot of our fans, a lot of our audience, and I know that that's just a microcosm of the world, but in that microcosm I see hope, you know what I mean? I see people who give a shit, you know, and that makes me excited about their future and like my kids' future and their kids' future.
And I was reading online, I think the definition of your name said that your vocal cords are made out of lightning, and you have the power to not only just inspire people, but to change their mind and prevent kids from killing themselves.
Oh, wow.
That is your superpower.
Yeah, I like that superpower. Yeah. I'll take it. I'm happy that the songs found the right people. You know what I mean? You sort of, you create songs and you scream into this empty chasm, and you hope that somebody hears on the other end. And so it makes me so happy when it connects to the people that it's supposed to connect with. You know, they're not just falling on deaf ears. You know, because hopefully it makes the listener feel a little less alone. And it certainly makes us feel a little less alone. People come to these shows and they're like, I agree with that, or like, I know what you're talking about, people can identify with that.
And I saw an interview with you one time. Is it you wait for the right moment to write a song, right, when it just comes to you?
Yeah, I think that a song needs to be something very natural, you know what I mean? Because if it's not natural, like, you can tell as a listener that it wasn't natural, you know what I mean? And so it's a lot of sort of, it's a perfect storm of many different elements, and that's something that you just kind of have to trust your gut with, and sort of and go with when you feel like, I feel like Rise Against can be most effective here, you know what I mean? And this is the right song for it, So yeah, it's a really tangible kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say thank you so much for this.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I'm glad we talked. Yeah, I love what your organization does, and I have a lot of respect for Tim DeChristopher.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I have a few things for you.
Oh, cool. Thanks for coming to the signing too, though. Cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to get all my giddiness out of the way.